Welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour. On a Monday, Super Bowl week here in the Phoenix market. We're excited today, very excited today. We have a special guest. Gerald Celente is an American trend forecaster, publisher of the TrendsJournal, business consultant, and author who makes predictions about the global financial markets and other events of historical importance. I know that Joe has been on the edge of his seat and excited to present him to you today.
Yeah, Gerald, good morning. Welcome to the Patriot Radio News Hour. Huge fans of yours, and we're just so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You know, I just feel so lucky to have you on at this time, you know, with all that's happened with the announcement of QE from the ECB. We saw the Swiss bank and how they went with negative rates, the elections that occurred yesterday in Greece, not to mention all the other central banks, whether it's ours, the Japanese central bank. It's almost like we're in a century of manipulation by these Federal Reserve and central banks. How do you see this all playing out?
Well, first of all, you know, that's one of our top trends for 2015, and actually it was written by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts in our TrendsJournal, the grand manipulation. And the other part of it's tied into bankism, and that's a term that we came up with. This isn't capitalism. 4 words have killed it, too big to fail. And Nomi Prinz, who wrote the book, All the President's Bankers, has done that's another one of our top trends. So this is in the news today, and it's the news that we said was going to be big in 2015 when we came out with these in early December. What we're looking at, it's basically a takeover, which, again, is the third trend of the top 9 that we looked at. And it's out of control. It's out of the people's control. All the governments are puppets for the banksters and the multinational corporations. And looking at just what happened last Thursday, with ECB coming out and pledging to pump in some 60 billion euros a month to buy up government bonds and corporate debt. Now, how's that for capitalism? There's no such thing. So is this going to benefit? The facts are there. Look at the markets in the United States. When Ben Bernanke came out with quantitative easing, the markets went down near what, 8,000? And now they're up to almost 18,000. Take a look what happened over there in Japan. They got a different name for quantitative easing. In Japan, you call it Abenomics. Look what happened. The equity markets went up 57%. Everybody knew that Draghi was going to do this. He kept promising. He pledged he was going to do what it takes, end quote. This is going on for several months. So now what's happened? The European equity markets are up to 7-year highs. What a surprise. It's a takeover. And then you look at the other facts. Oh, the market in the States went up from 8,000 to 18,000? Hey, your salary went up that much, everybody out there, huh? You got all those bonuses, didn't you? And your standard of living has increased parallel to the equity markets. Don't be stupid, Gcelente. They're slaves for slave land to you. The money goes to Jamie Dimon, the Goldman Sachs gang, the Merrill Lynch mob, the J.P. Morgan Chase criminals. And who's doing it? The Democrats and the Republicans. Dodd-Frank. How about Mickey Mouse? They killed the Glass-Steagall Act on the Slick Willie Clinton with Robert Rubin. Yeah, that little boy. The guy that made $150 million after he deregulated Glass-Steagall. Yeah, Glass-Steagall was put in place during the Depression so the banks wouldn't become these gambling houses, these casinos that gamble. Oh, no, don't call them gamblers, Gcelente. They're investors, I says. Okay, so he killed Glass-Steagall, allowed them to do this. Goldman Sachs guy, by the way, Robert Rubin, CEO of Goldman Sachs before he takes over the Treasury under Clinton. And then who comes in under Bush? Henry Paulson. Yeah, you remember him, that guy. I think he took over the Boris Karloff role, playing Frankenstein now that he's out of the Treasury. He's the guy that made up Too Big to Fail. Guess what? In capitalism, there's no such thing as too big to fail. All the European central bank is doing is the same thing that every other criminal central bank is doing. This is high fraud. It's in front of everybody's eyes. They're stealing all of our money, and they're becoming the trillionaires. Am I making this up? Hey, look at the numbers. Anybody could Google it up. 85 cats around the world have more dough than half the world's population. That's right. And according to Oxfam, by next year, 1% will have more money than 99%. That's right. Oh, and now with this ECB thing, I think they just upped the odds, because now you're going to see that 1% have 99.5%.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because the Market Watch and CNBC have a big articles out about what's happened to the middle class, and I think you're laying it out perfectly. They've just stolen it.
They've stolen it. Why can't anybody call a spade a spade? There's a video out there. I just found it yesterday about this teacher in Jersey over here, and this 16-year-old kid comes up to this guy, and you see it. He's dragging this guy down to the ground, and the guy's standing there like a stiff. And I'm looking at this thing. The kid doesn't know how to fight, and the guy doesn't know how to fight. And that's what happened in this country. Nobody knows how to fight. That's why everybody looks up to the military and the police, because they can't fight, and they can't speak out. They lost their courage. And it's one after another. They're shafting us right in front of our eyes, and people don't have the courage to do anything. They roll out. Look at that show last Tuesday, the president's State of the Nation, State of the Union address. What a disgrace. Here comes the emperor. Everybody applauding, jumping up and down like trained seals at every BS line he throws out. And not only him, it was Bush before him, Clinton before him, one after another, all sellouts to America. These are traitors to our country, and no one wants to call them that. It's roll out the red carpet, bend over, and keep taking it.
Let me ask you this, Gerald, because I got to tell you right now, I love it. Finally, somebody out there that's willing to tell America the truth. And with TrendsJournal, that's what you try to do. You try to tell us this is what's coming. Where are we headed? Where is 2015 headed? Where are we going to see the 99% going to be at the end of 2015?
They're going to get richer. And it's going to be one after another, because Obama's doing the other dirty deal now. He slipped it in again onto the during his State of the Union. Well, we got to do things to protect our manufacturing jobs, and that's why I want to have fast-track authority for the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Investment Partnership. They make up these names.
Yeah, they're real good at making up names. What was his play there? I mean, another free trade agreement?
It's not a free. No, the trade agreements are already done. We were already sold out. Again, slick Willie Clinton did that with NAFTA. And then, this is the other thing, too, by the way. Do you know when China got into the World Trade Organization? Yeah, for years they wouldn't leave. Don't go to Cuba, them commies down there. Hey, but we'll do business with China because we could send our jobs overseas, get slave labor to make our stuff, bring it back and mark it up, and put everybody else out of work. Do you know when China got into the World Trade Organization? 2 weeks after 9/11, when no one was paying attention. Yeah, little Georgie Bush shoved that one right through us, too.
Yeah, isn't that how everything gets done here in America?
Exactly.
They create the distraction, look over here, and while everybody's focused on that, they're actually pulling one over on us, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Exactly. So what's the Trans-Pacific Partnership and these names they make up? Again, all the free trade deals have been done. This is to rob us of more of our rights. It gives the multinational sovereignty over sovereign nations.
Wow, that is a scary
That's a
thought.
fact. And And this country, that's always selling freedom and democracy as the reason to go into foreign countries and kill people that didn't do anything to us. Yeah, that country, we're not allowed to read this. We're not allowed to look at it. The only reason we know anything about it is because of WikiLeaks. And that's right. I is the president, and I want fast-track authority to shove this up your you-know-what. You don't know. You don't have to read it. Vote yes and no.
And you know what? And that's really how things get done anymore in America. Gerald, we're
America with a K on that.
We're coming up to the end of the segment, and I got to tell you right now, we got to have you back. This has been the best 15 minutes of radio in a long time. How do people find you, Gerald?
Go to TrendsJournal.com, TrendsJournal.com, and we also have available, we just had a 5.5-hour conference here of our top trends for 2015. And, of course, the Trends Journal. We do Trends in the News each night. And, by the way, on May 2nd of this year, we're launching Occupy Peace for the most historic four corners in the United States to honor thy founding fathers right here in colonial Kingston, the only place where there's a pre-Revolutionary War stone building on each corner. The mayor's given us permission to close down the streets. And we're honoring thy founding fathers. No foreign entanglements. Bring home the troops. Let's rebuild America rather than building nations. And so we're launching that as well.
Amen to that, Gerald. Thank you so much. And I hope you come back and join us again.
I'd love to. Thanks so much, guys, for all you're doing as well.
Hey, thank you, Gerald.
Bye-bye
Great having you on. Gerald Celente. Wow. What an interview there. Trends Journal. And here's a guy, we put him up on our website. He's almost up there weekly, bi-weekly. And this is one of the things that when you're talking about how we do business, knowledge is power. And we want you to be informed. And here's a guy, he's been doing this for 35 years. And that is an incredible amount of time. And you think about all the things that he's talked about, how whether it be the central banks, the mega corporations, the establishment of the Republicans and the Democrats, and they're all about the same thing, and that's control. And I've been saying it for a long, long time. You know what? As soon as you get enough people having to be takers instead of givers, so much easier to control you. So much easier for you to just go along with what the establishment is saying. Gerald Celente used the words, we forgot how to fight. We don't know how to fight for ourselves anymore. We want the government and big corporations to fight for us. And you know what? They're going to do what's best for us. And that's the biggest mistake. No, they're not. They're going to do what's best for them.
Gerald Celente. Not only was he on Patriot Radio, he's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, the Today Show, Good Morning America, CBS, the Glenn Beck Show. You just had him here on the Patriot Radio News Hour. Hang out with us. Keep learning what we're providing.